This is the behind the scenes footage or behind the story of how my first album came to be. I'm planning on releasing currently 3 albums. The first one is Forbidden Night Instrumental, the second one is Forbidden Night Deluxe, and the last one is Forbidden Night Songwriting. The first 2 are instrumental parts, so there's no lyrics. It's basically classical pieces or pieces I've created in the past years. Some of them has a song variation of them. For example, Oceans or All My Wrongs, Lost in Translation. But majority of them are just pieces I've accumulated over the years. All of them hold very significant meaning to me. All of them is a manifestation of my ideas, of the thoughts, the emotions going through my head. For example, one of the pieces, The Journey of Lost Souls, is just about a time in my life when I felt really lost, when I felt really confused, when I didn't know where I was going, when I didn't know where I wanted to be. And that was just the whole piece, the whole idea of the piece was just coming to terms with my life and coming to terms with what I wanted. Some of these pieces I've actually had composed years ago, from as early as 2015 to as late as 2020. It's been a journey, because some of these pieces I've composed in farewells, prize givings, so they all hold meaning and memory to my life for different reasons. The artwork actually used in the album I created and completed myself. I did get help and support from other people. If I already had ideas forming in my head on what I wanted to look like and the whole idea of it, but for some of the patterns I asked some of my friends and they really loved it and they gave me some cultural ideas, but in essence I want it to be very personalized to me, and I want it to be a depiction of my ideas and what I was going through, my thoughts and feelings. So it's very personal, and I think, and I know for a fact that one of the beauties and one of the burdens as well, but I like to see it in a positive way, of being a musician, of being an artist, is that you have to be very vulnerable, you have to be very honest, you have to be just so committed to being truthful, to being unapologetically, authentically yourself, to the point where you have to be honest about it. You have to be honest about everything. You have to be so in tune and sensitive to the internal aspects of your life, but also the external, like your environment, people you surround yourself with, the availability of resources. And I just think, honestly, I think it's beautiful, and I think I have with me 2 of my planning books. This is just me ranting and going on about what I love and why I do what I do. This is like a very raw and real depiction of my whole creative process, especially my thinking process. So I have 2 books with me. These aren't the only 2 planning books that I have, but the 2 ones I currently have is my music projects and my art book. So this is where I plan my projects, what I want to achieve, the time frame, what I'm working with, and like due date. I'm going to go to my art project, and I'm actually going to show the ideas I had for. This is all copyrighted, so that's a great time. I actually started this because I always write, for my art books, I always have the picture side of it on the left, and then the writing part of it, so my ideas, my thoughts, what I want to achieve, and like the whole spectrum from color to the design pattern. And I started the idea for it, the whole art project, the design, the album cover, on the 18th of July this year. And it was really late at night. It was like nearly 10:30 p.m. But I just needed to just get it out there, because I had ideas forming in my mind, but I just didn't really have anything settled down, like committed completely. So the whole, I don't have the actual official like picture, the final product in here. This is just the beginning stages and the drafts and the editing process. But the yellow part of the album is actually a sun, and then the purple part that looks kind of all over the place is actually a moon, and then the bottom part of it is actually mountains. And I had this idea. At first, it was very, like, whenever I have ideas, it's very vague. I have the general picture, I have the main ideas. For example, I know I wanted to have the sun, then I want to have the moon in front of it. It's kind of like a total eclipse, like eclipse type of theme, and with the mountains in the bottom. Basically, my whole idea was that the sun represented like the good in my life, like my instruments, my family, the support, or even just general, just positive vibes, you know, meaningful connections, especially connected to music and what it represents for me. But the moon part was actually like the sadness, the despair, the dark element of music and craft. For example, getting stressed or not achieving a goal at the time you wanted it to be. And the mountains, I think, was very significant for me because I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted it to be completely natural. I just wanted to make sure that when I'm sharing content that I love, content that I care about, that it's not just me wanting to get likes, or it's not just me wanting to get more subscribers. For me, I really don't care how many people follow me. I really don't. I would rather have 5 people who follow my content that connect with it and they feel something positive. They can be able to use that in their life and just be happy with that, if not satisfied with that, than having like thousands and millions of billions of followers who only have like surface level meaning through my work. Like, I want to share content that I care about, and I want people to connect with that and care about that as well. Each element, from the sun to the moon to the mountain, actually has the color silver in it. And in my notes, that color is, because I number all my coloring pencils, is color, I'm sure 29. No, it's 47. It's 47. For example, on the outer layers of the sun, it actually has the silver color. And then on the moon, I even write down to the colors and the colors I wanted to use and make sure that everything like worked out. I even checked if the brown colors suited the style that I wanted. So it's very thorough. It's very similar to any art form where it's a lot of behind the scenes decisions that customers or audience, reader even, doesn't really see. I think that's one of the beauties of it, because it's very similar to like a magician where they don't want to share all the secrets, but it's always really nice to know the behind the scenes the behind the scenes story of it, so you get a greater appreciation of how much hard work these people do, especially nowadays in mainstream music, even classical music, just any genre. You can't really fully tell the struggles and the hardships that artists has to go through. And I find it like amazing watching some of my favorite artists and the creative process behind that, because it reminds me of, wow, that they're human like me. Wow, they don't have all the ideas straight away. They're not perfect. It's just a beautiful reminder that it's like a journey. It's a craft. You have to keep working on it. I think it's just amazing. The easiest part of it was obviously the mountains. I just needed to make sure it was like simplified and modified properly. But actually, the moon that's like a full, not a full moon, but a moon that's like the opposite of a full moon, where it's completely in shadows. I'm sorry, I'm not a major scientist. This is not my field. I study psychology and music composition. But that's like the opposite of a full moon, and then that's like a crescent moon. And because I wanted to make sure it was like obvious and that it wasn't just completely black, I decided to incorporate the purple shade. Purple is one of my favorite colors. I'm torn between red and purple. But yes, this is just a whole, because I wanted to have contrast between the color of the sun and the color of the moon. So I decided to go with purple, and I think that's very, very appropriate. And So that's like one cycle of the moon, and then that's the second, and that's the third, except the crescent's on the other side. And the final one is very similar to the second layer. Yeah, no, it's really fun. It was really, really fun to make. It was stressful. I've also realized that the footage I'm creating is actually nearly 10 minutes, so this is going to be so much fun editing. Love my life. Nah, yeah, but I do. So basically this whole album was just finally a way for me just to release content I love. For so long I've had to put music on hold to find stability. So yeah, Forbidden Midnight is just basically me actually sharing content that I love and that I care about. Especially pieces that have hold such significance to me. I've had some of these pieces for years. Some of them composed for musical internals, some of them for personal therapy, basically. And I think it's just important, just to be honest, and to share content that you love, and to just be. So yes, I hope you enjoy. I hope that even if you don't see the pieces of the songs in the same way that I do, I hope that you're able to connect with it. You're able to use it in your life and listen to it and feel positive emotions, but also learn to cope with the negative ones. Have a good day. I hope you enjoy.